starting off in February this year. I woke during the early hours of one morning, and with a sudden realization that any doubts I'd held about my relationship with Jesus Christ were unfounded, and that in repenting my sin, that I could be forgiven through his death on the cross for me, and that this would bring me back into a relationship with God that I had avoided, let's say, for many years. In the 3 or 4 years that we had attended Shore Street, I couldn't come to terms with deserving such forgiveness or worthiness in being accepted as a Christian. Having spent years away from worship as being part of a church family, and putting sort of self-centered and gratifying issues first of all in my life. But I'd always had an awareness, not an acceptance of Jesus in my life, and I always sought guidance and protection and support for anything that I did or my family did, or we faced up to or undertook in our daily living. And as in any family, we experienced the many ups and downs that life brings. From an early age, I attended Sunday school. Indeed, Marion Jones, as a teenager, was one of my Sunday school teachers in Low Memorial in Finnicky. And imagine my surprise when I came to Shore Street to find Marion and meet her again. It was terrific. So at 10 years old, back then, I changed church and actually became confirmed in the Church of Ireland, because I joined the Scout troop then. And during my school years at a Methodist college, certain teachers encouraged Bible reading and study, which I followed. And then in our married life, we'd moved so many times and followed my business, and we hadn't attended church, but encouraged, as Dan has said, encouraged our children's belonging to church organisations and Sunday school. But as Alvin recently said, people are most open to God when people are most broken, and it was a family circumstance that really brought us to focus on coming back to church again. And so with encouragement from Alvin and Alan Wilson and James Fulton, who's a friend of mine of more than 50 years, I came to acknowledge the Holy Spirit within me again. And I'm quoting Bibles here, and I do know little bits of Bible, and I use them really in my daily life, and have done over the many years, whether I'm in church or out of church. And this was Paul in Ephesians: "And God saved you by his grace when you believed." And we can't take credit for this. It is a gift from God. So in returning to worship, we acknowledge the sincerity and encouragement with God's grace of Alvin and Frank. And I thank Diane for her love and support, and the fellowship of our Bible study and prayer group led by Morris and Sonia, and all renewing our trust in Jesus, which allows our faith to grow stronger. And again, in Paul's words, the one thing that I would use a lot of times, and even standing in front of the camera before I did, this is Paul's words, that I can do all things through Jesus Christ that gives me strength. Thank you.